Texas was the last state to make the electric chair illegal. So I'm not sure exactly how they kill everybody, but they're going to kill the first man. The first man.
I want to turn now to
who's guilty of a certain crime.
Texas man who in just hours could become the first person in the country to be put to death over shaken baby syndrome and a conviction in that case. The Texas Pardons and Parole Board voting against clemency for Robert Roberson, though several lawmakers on both sides of the political aisle are trying to stop that execution. Chris Oddie is in our newsroom this morning with the latest developments because, Chris, this is a case that is not over yet. It is going down to the wire.
Yeah, Mark, not over yet, but certainly running out of time. The execution of Robert Roberson is now just 13 hours away. There's still a lot of people trying to save his life, but only a few that can step in and do so. One of them.
Texas also routinely now executes people who are cognitively impaired. Texas has done this. This man shook his baby out of frustration.
Is Governor Greg Abbott, who could issue a stay of execution. So could the U.S. Supreme Court, but those are the last chances for Roberson after the parole board voted unanimously on Wednesday to deny him clemency. However, the Texas House Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence is trying to stop tonight's execution from happening. The committee, made up of both Democrats and Republicans, subpoenaed Roberson to testify at their emergency hearing. The hope is that would, at the very least, delay his execution if he were under subpoena. It's a Hail Mary of sorts, one that appears without precedent. The reason why so many are coming to Roberson's defense, he was largely convicted of killing his 2-year-old daughter based on science around shaken baby syndrome. That science has changed since this case back in 2002. State Representative Brian Harrison is pro-death penalty, but believes the evolving science is reason to stop Roberson's execution.
So the evolving science being, maybe it didn't. Maybe the shaking the baby didn't kill him. Maybe that's not what happened. The question, though, is, what is the point of execution? Are you for it or against it, Bartleby? How do you feel about execution? Should we be executing human beings at all? And if we are we supposed to be? Why? Why is execution a useful tool for a state in its jurisprudence, if you want to call it that, in our justice system? This guy's been on death row since 2002, yes. So for 22 years, he's been just sitting in a cell waiting to die.
The science has changed so much that even the lead detective in the case, the person the state relied on to put this man on death row, now believes that this was a complete miscarriage of justice.
An appeals court recently vacated a conviction of a DeSoto man who was convicted on discredited shaken baby science. However, the same court upheld Roberson's conviction. We will be watching the governor's office all day to see if any kind of stay or statement is issued.
What do you think? Do you think the Texas government, Abbott, is actually going to stay an execution for a man? Has he ever stayed an execution? I don't think so. Do you think shaken baby has become a euphemism for non-accidental trauma? It's still violence to an infant. Yeah, violence to an infant. Bible Dumb Podcast. I happen to know that you live in Texas. Do you think that they should stay the execution? Do you think that execution is for people who, out of frustration, in moments of insanity, committed a crime? Let's say it's true and he shook that baby until the head popped off. Is that a punishable by death offense? I thought that most of the people who are for the death penalty are usually saying he can serve no purpose to society. He deserves to die because his crime is so heinous to bring solace and closure to his victims, families. They have to be put to death. Or that he poses such a great threat to our way of life and to the rest of society, and to our community, that we have to put him to death. Is that the case here? What is the justification for a state murdering a man because out of a moment of frustration, he shook that baby? What do you think? I'd love to know, Bartleby. How do you think it happens? What do you think? I'd love to know in the comments. Oh, Bartleby. Oh, humanity.